But there's a time when you snuck into the room to see what the...
I sneaked into the room. Snuck isn't a word, Conan. And you went to Harvard and you should know that.
There's a... Oh, I'm sorry, wait, there's a... I keep a dictionary down here and I just found it. Just want to look at... Oh, what the hell? Look right here. Snuck, past and past part of sneak.
In 1995, a large, heavy middle-aged man robbed 2 Pittsburgh banks in broad daylight. He did not wear a mask or any sort of disguise, and he smiled directly at surveillance cameras before walking out of each bank. Later that night, the bank robber, MacArthur Wheeler, was arrested by police, and he was absolutely shocked that they were able to catch him. When the police showed him the surveillance tapes, Mr. Wheeler said, "But I wore the juice." Apparently, MacArthur Wheeler thought that if he rubbed lemon juice on his skin, he would be invisible to surveillance cameras because lemon juice is one of the ingredients to create invisible ink. Now, the police concluded that Mr. Wheeler was not crazy or on drugs. On the contrary, he was just incredibly stupid. What's up, peeps? This is Todd, and welcome back to my show. Today, we're going to discuss why dumb people think they're smart. If that sounds good, let's hop into the video. Now, all of you just watched the clip with actress Jennifer Garner where she tries to correct Conan O'Brien, but of course she is wrong, she is mistaken, and she looks like an idiot. The wildest thing about this whole situation is Jennifer Garner was incredibly confident. There was no doubt in her mind that she was right and Conan O'Brien was wrong. You can just see the confidence oozing out of her face. There is no question she believes that she is right. But of course she was incorrect, and Conan O'Brien schooled her on live TV in front of a national audience, and millions of people saw how dumb Jennifer Garner truly is. And in 1995, a bank robber thought he would be invisible to cameras if he rubbed lemon juice on his skin. He was so confident that he smiled and waved to security cameras on his way out of robbing the bank. He was actually so confident in this method that when the police showed him the tapes of him robbing the bank, he actually thought that the tapes were faked. Even though he of course robbed the bank and he knew he robbed the bank, there was just no way in his mind that his method could be wrong. My friends, this is what's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. This is going to be a controversial video because it's going to be quite offensive. In a nutshell, the Dunning-Kruger effect goes over why dumb people think they're smart. And part of the reason is dumb people don't actually know they're dumb because their lack of knowledge of the world makes them incredibly confident. You see this all the time with politicians, and they just say outrageously stupid things. And quite frankly, it's because they don't know enough to doubt themselves. Imagine you have 2 people and they're having a debate about velocity, aerodynamics, and flight patterns. Now, one of these individuals is a rocket scientist working for NASA, and she has 25 years experience as a rocket scientist. Now, the other individual is just a nerd who plays a lot of video games, and because of all of his gaming, he thinks he knows about rockets and how they fly and space travel and all that stuff. So the gamer might know this much about velocity, flying, and space travel, and maybe that individual, the gamer, maybe he thinks there's only this much that there is to know about it. Now, the rocket scientist who's been doing this for 25 years, she knows this much about velocity and flight and space travel, but she knows that there is an exponential amount to know. I can't even show you fully on the screen. She knows that there is way more that she doesn't know. So in this specific example, what the gamer knows compared to what he thinks there's left to know is smaller than what the rocket scientist knows to what she thinks there is to know about this topic. I don't have the software where you can have a whiteboard and have somebody write out a sketch for you, so I decided to get a piece of paper and draw it out. So what I'm going to do is draw 2 boxes where basically this small box that I'm about to shade in, this represents what a uninformed person might know about a topic. So this is what they know. And this larger box on the outside is how much they think is left to know about a particular topic. So in their mind, they know a great deal about it. But now I'm going to draw another box where this box, which is going to be larger than the box of the person, of their shaded portion, this is what a smart person knows. So this shaded part that I'm shading in right here, this is all the knowledge they have about the same topic. As you can see, this shaded box is larger than the other shaded box. If we're just talking about the shaded portion, this is bigger. But this box is how much they know is left about the topic that they don't actually know. They don't actually comprehend or understand. So what you have is somebody who actually knows more about a topic. They also know how much they don't know about that topic, where the person who's just kind of dumb doesn't know. And therefore, because the part that's unshaded is actually smaller, the dumb person is more confident in their abilities about this topic. They think they know more. And the person who's actually trained, educated, and experienced, because they know how much they don't know, they just know how much there is left to learn, they are less confident overall in their abilities. But basically what happens is the person who has overall less knowledge is actually more confident than the person who has a superior knowledge in a topic. Because the more educated you become about a topic, the more you understand there is to know, and the more you don't know. So the truth is, you don't know what you don't know. And because you don't understand that you don't know a lot about a certain topic, that can make you incredibly confident, even though you're incapable and not really educated on the subject. Take me, for example. I own 6 rental houses, and I know that there is so much about real estate that I have yet to learn. I know there are subject to deals. I know there's land contract. I personally have never flipped a house or done a burr investment. I know that there is a huge world of real estate out there, and I've barely even scratched the surface. And yet, what's astonishing is there are people who have never bought real estate. There are people who have never sold real estate. There are people that don't own any real estate that actually think they know more about real estate than I do. Everybody watching my channel knows that I own real estate and I rent them all out by the bedroom. It's a lot more lucrative that way and you get way more cash flow. I posted something to my Facebook the other week about rich versus wealthy. And in that post, I talked about how a rich person might spend $200,000 on a Lamborghini, but a wealthy person would take that $200,000 and invest it in a way that produces $10,000 per month, which of course can make your Lamborghini payments for you. A friend of mine shared that post on LinkedIn and it got destroyed. I triggered so many people who didn't think those returns were realistic, and by the way, people that have never bought, sold, or worked in real estate. Now these comments are on LinkedIn. It's very easy to find online, so I do not feel bad about sharing this. As far as I'm concerned, if you post a negative comment on a public forum, it is fair use. So basically, these comments were saying that my returns in real estate are unrealistic and impossible, and there's no way that I could be right. And again, these are people that know less about real estate than I do. And just for some context, what I talked about was a $200,000 investment that can produce $10,000 per month in income, and that of course is a 60% return. For those of you that believe 60% is an unrealistic return in real estate, I'm getting an 83% cash-on-cash return on one of my deals and a 130% cash-on-cash return on another one of my deals. I will make another video dedicated to those properties and how these returns not only are possible but consistent for me year after year. But so check out this first comment by a guy named Brian. Brian says, "The reason it's hard to believe you is because your renter could be paying the mortgage for a lot less cost." Now, think about any rental house. Like, just think for a second. If I own an apartment building or a rental house, I am going to rent it out for more than what the mortgage is. That's why you own rental properties. So I would argue that in any scenario, really, if you were to own a home instead of rent it, your monthly mortgage payment should be less than your rent. Otherwise, no real estate investor would invest in real estate because then they would have a negative cash flow and it wouldn't be profitable. But in my situation, I rent out all the houses by the bedroom. So someone might be living in an $800,000 house, but they only pay $900 for a room. So for each individual tenant, they are paying less than what the mortgage would be in a house of that value, but I have 6 to 8 tenants in any given house, so the money that I'm bringing in is well above market rent. But check out this next guy, this guy named Andrew, and he says, "That sounds like a Ponzi scheme to me. As a return of $120,000 per year. To get $120K per year, you'll need about $6 million, assuming a 2% ROI. My friends, I'm invested very heavily in stocks, very heavily in real estate. Not a single one of my investments is only bringing in a 2% ROI. Heck, I opened up a bank account a few years ago with Wealthfront, and even my high yield savings account was getting better than 2%. Even the S&P 500 on average gets between 7 and 10%. So for this guy saying that a 2% ROI is really all you could hope for, he's just quite frankly uninformed and uneducated about investing. Laura Baldwin had some wise words where she just said, not possible. And of course, it is possible because, again, I own 6 houses that I rent out by the bedroom, and off of those 6 houses, I collect about $40,000 per month in rent. Now, in order to defend myself, I did respond to a few of these comments. Most of them were just saying it's unrealistic to put up $200,000 and then hope to collect 10 grand per month. But if you guys heard my Bigger Pockets podcast, you know that I bought a house where I put $60,000 down and I collect $8,000 per month in gross. $4,000 per month of that is pure profit, meaning that is over an 80% return on my money. But this guy on LinkedIn was just accusing me of just saying arbitrary numbers, not actually backing it up. So here's what he had to say. Again, that is simply not right. I put $50K in a property with $3K positive cash flow because I get $7,000 per month and my mortgage is only $4,000. These numbers are arbitrary. Now, he isn't saying that that's what he does. He's just saying an example of anybody online can say anything, which is true. But again, he just doesn't understand how any of this works. Considering it's an investment property, you need 20% down, which means your property is $300,000, which means you have a $300,000 property generating $8,000 per month in rent. That's BS, man. You can keep doing your outrageous math to justify a clearly bad example. I'm not going to engage in these hypotheticals. I'm out. Peace. Now, first and foremost, this individual is just incorrect. The specific house that I was talking about where I put $60,000 down and it brings in $8,000 per month, I bought that owner occupied with 10% down. When I bought it, this was like a $600,000 house. And as many of you know, my whole thing is I buy houses owner occupied, I move into the master bedroom, and then I rent out every additional bedroom in the house, meaning I live completely for free and I make a profit. Now, this particular house, which I don't live in now, by the way, has 8 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. In this specific house, my average room goes for about $1,000. So yes, I do bring in $8,000 per month. And after the principal, interest, taxes, insurance, maintenance, and utilities, about $4,000 of that $8,000 per month is pure profit, meaning I make $48,000 per year off of an investment of a $60,000 down payment. Just because this individual doesn't know how it works or doesn't believe it's possible doesn't mean that it's true. But he clearly doesn't understand house hacking. He clearly doesn't know as much about real estate as I do, but he was so confident that he would make a comment on a public forum like LinkedIn, not knowing that he would get schooled by somebody who actually knows what the hell they're talking about. Then we have this guy named Mick who says, any $200K investment that consistently produces $10,000 per month is likely illegal in all 50 states. That is just an absurd statement. You guys, my first property I bought owner occupied with a first time home buyer program, and I only had to put 3.5% down. My down payment on that house was $19,000. My wife and I lived in the master bedroom, and we rented out all the remaining bedrooms to young professionals. We have since moved out of that house because you can buy a new primary residence every 12 months. And then we put a tenant in the master bedroom that we moved from. Now that house every year produces about $25,000 per year in profit. And again, our initial investment, our down payment, was only $19,000. That means that I'm getting over a 130% cash on cash return on this deal. It's not illegal. It is completely legal. And if anybody wants to fact check me on this, in the city of Seattle, you can have 8 unrelated persons per house. And in the outskirts where I bought, you can have 2 people per bedroom plus 1. So in a 6-bedroom house, you can have 2 people per bedroom for a total of 12 plus 1 for a total of 13. This is completely above board. It's completely legal. And I actually hosted a barbecue at one of my houses, and the mayor of the city that I invest in came to that barbecue. So I promise you, everything that I'm doing is above board, legal, and fine. Then we have this intelligent individual who says, I'll make you a deal, broski. You bring me these and I'll fund it with unlimited capital. Go. Now, of course, he's not actually interested in investing. He's just trying to flex and show that he's the big swinging dick in the room. But if you feel the need to publicly post on LinkedIn and you use words like broski, my friend, you probably have a little bitty micropenis. Now we have maybe one of the most surprising comments because this person is actually really smart. They have an MBA. Basically, they're saying $10,000 per month off of a $200,000 asset is a 5% ROI per month. That equals 60% ROI per year, and there's no way you could sustain that for 5 years. No thank you, I'll pass. Now again, This guy is an MBA, which means he has a college degree and he went to graduate school. I dropped out of college, so I have 0 degrees to his 2 or maybe even more degrees. But the fact is, I know a lot more about real estate than this guy does, and a 60% return isn't even nearly as high as some of my better returns. So my friends, be aware of the Dunning-Kruger effect. The Dunning-Kruger effect allows people who are uneducated and untrained in a particular topic to be incredibly confident about that topic, even though they really have no business articulating their opinion about the industry. Jennifer Garner was wrong. Conan O'Brien schooled her in front of millions of people. Mr. Wheeler, the bank robber, was wrong. Rubbing lemon juice on your skin is not going to make you invisible to security cameras. And all of these comments on my LinkedIn post are wrong. Just because they don't understand how to do something doesn't mean that it isn't possible. My real estate strategy is what got me interviewed by CNBC. It's why I've been featured in documentary films and TV shows. My rent by the room strategy is why I was on the cover of the Bigger Pockets magazine. It's why my article about how to invest in real estate was published on entrepreneur.com, BuzzFeed, Thrive Global, and Authority magazine. Do not let incompetent or incapable people tell you how to do anything. I'll see you at the next video. Peace.